Greetings fellas, this is the part 5, of What If Female Deku Ascend Beyond Human Limitation, Chapter 24, an informant eventually? Izuka stepped out onto the field. Across from her, Mina Ashido did the same. Welcome back everybody. We're starting of round 2 of the 1 vs 1 tournament with a bang. The girl WHO's kept the top spot with no unique power of her own. Yumi Shodai. Her opponent. The stunning battle ballerina. The acidic queen herself. Mina Ashido. The crowd roared as both students took their positions. Midnight raised her whip. Ready? Begin. The whip cracked, and Ashido threw 2 globs of acid at Izuka. She's aiming for my hands. Good thing I didn't bring any gadgets into this fight. Izuka sidestepped the attack. Come on Ashido. You'll need to do better than that. Really? Nitpicking my first attack? Ashido grinned. You're a piece of work. Izuka smiled, and rolled under another volley of acid. You know I don't have my gadgets, right? That doesn't really matter. Because if I coat your hands in slime, a glob of low-potency acid hit Izuka's hand and stuck, coating the girl's left arm in a slippery coat of fluid. Your attacks will slip off of me. Izuka looked at her arm. Huh. Interesting strategy. She's right. This viscosity would literally just have any force slide off and disperse. What could I do with it? Izuka noticed Ashido begin to approach. Wait. What if I turned it against her? Izuka smirked. Ashido ran in with her arm readied. The girl closed the distance between her and her opponent in a second, and delivered a punch. Izuka spun out of the way and wrapped her slimed hand around Ashido's fist. The girl's arm slipped through Izuka's grasp. Her eyes widened. How did you? Izuka gripped Mina tighter, stopping the slipping on her forearm. Pivoting on her heel, she swung Mina around and hurled her back to her side of the ring. Ashido landed on her hands and cartwheeled back to her feet. Huh. Nice one. Not so bad yourself. That was a decent strategy. Izuka said. Just missed a little bit of something. Ashido smiled. I'll work on that then. But now, I'm gonna beat you. The floor of the arena was covered in a layer of acid. Ashido began skating around. Watch out. You could slip. Izuka shifted her foot, watching as it slid on the slimy floor with ease. Huh. Interesting. Ashido skated up behind Izuka and landed a kick to the girl's back, knocking her over. Hey, don't get distracted. You're pretty interesting, Ashido. Izuka said, getting up with ease. You keep your experience a secret. You know how to fight really well. You make it look like you have no idea what you're doing. Mina gave a cheery smile. So? It's good to keep some secrets. I guess I just find it funny. Izuka chuckled. You can do a lot, yet you can't believe that anybody would be able to move like you. Izuka took off, skating around the ring as fast as Ashido had. The pink girl's eyes widened, before she gave a determined look. I should have guessed you would be able to do it. But I'll still beat you. Izuka appeared behind Mina. No. The pink girl had her feet kicked out from under her, and fell to the ground. Izuka noticed that Mina flexed her hands as she got back to her feet. Need a break? Never. Mina rushed in. Izuka grabbed the girl's arms and brought them into a dancing position. Come on. Left hand down, right hand up in mine. I lead. Mina smiled as they began spinning around the ring. Both pushed and pulled to gain control. To everybody else, it looked like ballroom dancing. Huh. You're not bad. Mina smiled. You've said that already. Izuka chuckled. I meant in a fight. This time I mean your looks. Oh? Izuka smiled. Mina Ashido. Are you attempting to flirt with me? In the middle of a fight? The girl's cheeks darkened into a shade of purple. Maybe. Izuka brought her face close to Mina's ear. Well. I think you aren't that bad yourself. As she pulled away, she gave Mina a quick kiss on the cheek. I won. By the way. What? Midnight cracked her whip. Mina Ashido is out of bounds. Yumi Shodai moves on to the next round. Izuka had led them around the ring and stopped right on the edge, making Ashido lose the battle. Why you tricked me? Izuka smiled. Not completely. Come on. The two girls left the arena and dashed into a hallway as President Mick made an announcement. After that fight we'll need a bit of cleanup. 20 minutes. Izuka pulled the pink girl to the closet, before smashing her lips into Mina's. You have tricked me. Did I? Wouldn't you have done the same thing? Okay. Fair enough. How much time do we have? Izuka's lips curled upwards. Enough time. What do you want to do? Mina grabbed Izuka's face and pulled her into a kiss. I want you. Do you think this is too fast? Izuka asked innocently. Mina shook her head. Hell no. The girl pulled Izuka into another kiss. Izuka gave a satisfied purr. Well, okay then. Where are they? Mirko huffed. Izuka took Mina and oh. Hatsum said. Oh? What do you owe? Yeah. It's been 10 minutes, right? Knowing her, they'll be back soon. 5 minutes later, Izuka showed up, Mina at her side. Sorry guys. We know. Mina looked at everybody. Wait, Mirko too. How do you all Mirko's scouting us? Everybody else. Mine. Izuka giggled. Mina's eyes widened. So all of you are like a harem? Hatsum kissed Mina. You could call it that. We prefer very good friend group. Mina nodded. Okay. So is there anybody else I should know about? Izuka shook her head. Not really. But I do have to go speak with somebody. Who? Todoroki. Wait, Ice Boy too? Mina, I just told you that it wasn't anybody else. We just need to check up on him. Izuka puffed up her cheeks. You stay here and chat with everybody else. Izuka turned back to her group and mouthed a sentence. She doesn't know where villains. Everybody nodded. Izuka dragged Toga into the stadium hallways. I thought you weren't recruiting her. Toga gave a sly smile. Izuka squeezed Toga's hand. You know I meant it. She's just an outside relationship. As I said before, she's got it pretty good right now. But we can make sure she's still a hero in our world. So you wanna sleep with the heroes? Toga smirked. Izuka hummed happily. Maybe. She could also be a decent mole. Not a fighter. But if we could convince her, maybe just information. How many students do you have on our side now? At this rate you'll take over a... Toga tickled Izuka's neck. Cut that out. So far we've got 3, and Mirko. Maybe Todoroki, but Dabi kinda hates him, right? Actually. Taking over a... You really think you could do it? Nah. Izuka chuckled. You kidding? Hard-ass and Bakugo would take all the classes out with the teachers. Besides, taking over the school isn't the plan, that will just fall with everything else. Toga giggled, before giving Izuka a kiss. I gotta go now. My match is next. Kick ass out there. Izuka grinned. You know I will. Toga dashed to the waiting room. Izuka watched her go with a smile, before turning and walking through the halls to find Todoroki and Uraraka. Hey you two. Izuka emerged into 1A's seats. Todoroki turned. Okuko smiled. Hey Yumi, what are you doing here? Tenya Ida sped up into Izuka's face. You should be in your seat. Bro, move. I have no time for you. Izuka vaulted over Ida and sat down next to Todoroki. So what do you want to talk about? Nothing. I just want to watch this match with you guys. Mind if we ask you some stuff? Uraraka asked. Sure. Izuka said. Ask what you want. Are you really quirkless? Izuka nodded her head. I could have a racer head check for you if you'd like. Uraraka shook her head. No. That's fine. Sorry. How did you get so strong? A lot of hard work. Izuka held up her arm and flexed. Decided I had enough of getting put down, so I'm climbing to the top so I can show everybody that quirkless doesn't mean useless. That's cool. This one's a little personal. Did you really? Okuko's eyes widened as Izuka grabbed her fidgeting hands. If you're wondering about me trying to commit suicide, yeah. I did. Todoroki was also kinda right to be in awe of me just getting this scar. The explosion knocked me out for about an hour. Thought I actually died there, but then I woke up. Izuka had somehow turned the dark topic of her own attempts at suicide into a light topic. Okuko was somewhat in awe of her. Yet still very worried. How can she shrug it off like that? She's incredible, but she's hiding something. Lighter topic, Todoroki butted in. How do you know Mirko? Izuka chuckled. Who doesn't know Mirko? She cheered for me during the cavalry battle, so I performed an adapted move of hers. Then we had lunch, and she's been hanging out with us the entire festival. Okuko smiled. That's so cool. Mirko's rated 6th on the top 10 heroes list, right? My favorite hero's 13. Is yours Mirko? Izuka shook her head. No. Mine's all. The girl faltered. Her eyes wide. What the fuck? Are you okay? Okuko asked. You look like you've seen a ghost. Yeah. I'm fine. Let's just watch the match now. Okay? The two hero students nodded. Izuka turned her attention to the center of the arena. Why did I say that? Why was I going to say All Might? And we're on to the second match of the second round. IT's Class 1B's Warhorse. Shinama Yuko. Her opponent is the Rockwall of Class 1A. The unbreakable Ejiro Kirishima. So how do you think this fight will go? Okuko asked. Todoroki stared down at the two competitors as they took their places. Kirishima's trained hard. He is one of the strongest in the class at this point. Top is Bakugo, then me, then him. If that's 1B's finest. And the Steel Boy was their second best. I think Kirishima will win this one. My money's on Shinama. Izuka smiled. She's a lot stronger than you think. Midnight raised her whip. Ready? Begin. Kirishima rushed in with a punch, which Toga dodged. The boy whirled around to strike the girl with his hardened arm, and only scratched the side of her cheek. Kirishima starts out with attack. Shinama seems to be faster than he is, however. Could this be the redemption of Class 1B? Kirishima felt a punch hit his stomach. Wait. I felt that? Toga shook her hand. Huh. Definitely harder than SushuiTemitsu. What the hell? How did you easy there, sweetie? Toga smiled. Physical training does have its perks sometimes, no? Toga punched again, pushing Kirishima back. No. Getting pushed back. Toga felt her hands going numb. She flipped onto her hands and spun, delivering a series of wicked kicks to Kirishima. Kirishima grunted. No. How is she quick? Kirishima's eyes widened. No. He leapt away from Toga and took a look at his chest. A thin line had appeared on his right side. A crack. Thankfully, that'll just be a cut, not a wound like last time. But I can't afford to let something like that happen again. Kirishima put everything he had into his arms, making them unbreakable. I've only been able to do this in my arms so far, but I'm getting better at it. I've got 5 minutes before my muscles cramp from being tensed too long. I need to make this count. Kirishima swung his fist at the ground, sending a shockwave through the arena. Toga was thrown off balance. The redhead took the opportunity and rushed in. Toga caught his strike. What? But you were off balance. You couldn't have caught that. Toga gritted her teeth. I just did. This is for SushuiTemitsu. Toga grabbed Kirishima's arms with both hands and flipped over him. She landed on her feet and whipped Kirishima over her head, hurling him out of bounds and into the wall of the arena. Midnight cracked her whip. Ejiro Kirishima is out of bounds. Shina Mayuko wins. Toga raised her fist in victory, and looked up into the 1A stands. Izuka sat there, a student was badgering her, another had their feet up next to her shoulder. Izuka's eyes were growing dull. Even from a distance, Toga could see her hands begin to shake. Shit. Toga dashed out of the arena. Chapter 25, Ghost. Toga dashed down the stadium hallways, bumping into people, students, spectators. She ran headfirst into Power Loader. Whoa there, miss. Where are you going, Shinama? Yushoik. Whoa. Slow down. What's the matter? Power Loader's voice became stern. Yumi, panic attack. You're having a panic attack? Do you need me to go get Yumi for you? Toga grit her teeth. No. She's having a panic attack. Toga shoved Power Loader out of the way and dashed to the 1A seats. Power Loader cursed under his breath. Todoroki and Okako Uraraka walked by. Is everything okay? Everything's fine. Don't you two worry. Damn. I need to get Joe. Toga arrived at the doorway to the 1A seats. She could see a clump of students milling about in the front row. Get out of the way. Toga barreled through the wall of students, who just watched as Izuka broke down. I just started talking and she started shaking. Tenya Ida quaked. Then find a way to do something about it. Toga picked Izuka up into her arms. Momoyasu came forward. I don't think that's how you treat somebody having a panic attack. Oh? Toga gave a chilling smile. How do you then? Just let them sort it out on their slap, students gasped. Yairazu was in shock. Toga had backhanded her across the face. You cannot. Shut up. Toga growled. Move out of my way. I need to take care of my friend, who you were so happy to watch fall apart. The students parted, as Toga carried the shaking Izuka away. What was how dare she? Yairazu fumed. Hey Momo. Calm down. Tsa croaked. She probably convinced Mineta to make us wear those uniforms. Momo. I said calm down. Don't tell me to Momo. Tsa shouted. The class went silent. Tsa never yelled. Momo, calm down. Her friend was falling apart right in front of us and we did nothing. She had a right to be mad at us. She's most likely dealt with this before. Leave them alone. She slapped me. And you got in her way, and tried to force your inaccurate expertise onto the situation. Like I said, she had a right to be mad. Momo grumbled a bit, but sat down. Whatever. Izuka could feel herself moving. She could hear Toga's voice, but nothing else. She could only see gray. Then there was a twinge of something on her arm. Red leaked into her vision, followed by gold, then everything else. The first thing she noticed was Toga sitting by her side. She then realized that they were sitting in a secluded part of the arena. A bench in one of the hallways near the edge of the enormous building. Are you okay? Toga looked at Izuka with worrying eyes. Izuka shook her head. I need some water. What happened? You haven't had one that bad since I know. Uraraka. She asked me who my favorite hero was. You said his hero name, didn't you? Toga's eyes softened. I'm sorry. I should have been there for you. You had your match. It's fine. No. It isn't. I should have seen you before and bowed out. Babe. It's okay. I just need a little water, and I'll be fine. Toga nodded. Okay, do you want me to go get you some water? Can you clean up on your own? Izuka nodded. Yeah. That'd be nice. Toga gave a sad smile and stood up. She walked down the hallway to find a vending machine. Izuka shuddered a bit as she looked to her side. Izuka Midoriya sat next to her, looking as she did when Izuka was a child. Beautiful, lively, but she was dead. So when will you tell her that you can see me? It's time for the third match of the second round. It's the cool-headed student with a cold personality. Shito Todoroki. His opponent is the second half of the super support duo. Give it up for Hatsumi. The crowd cheered as the two fighters took their positions. Midnight raised her whip. Ready? Begin. Todoroki started out like always, with an ice attack. Hatsumi leapt to the side as a line of icicles erupted towards her. As expected. He always starts with ice. Always uses ice anyways. But it's good to keep that fire in mind too. Todoroki hurled another wave of ice at Hatsumi. The pink rolled to the side yet again, before leaping forward. Hatsumi donned her gauntlets and bunched. Todoroki caught her fist by covering his own arm in ice. You know, that broken wrist fight gave me this idea. Make some stronger ice, you know? Hatsumi grinned. Looks like you're gonna be one to work with. The two leapt away from each other, before rushing in yet again. Both with smiles on their faces. Why are you with me, Mom? Well, can't a woman see her own daughter? I knew you'd watch over me. But this isn't what I thought it'd be like. The apparition chuckled, honestly. Neither did I. I don't really know what it is, but I've been here the whole time, you just haven't seen me. Until now, that is. Izuka nodded. Are you disappointed in me? The apparition shook her head. No. Never. Why would I be disappointed for what I failed to change? I could have made sure you weren't treated so. This isn't your fault. Izuka mumbled. Inko brought her hand to Izuka's face. I know, sweetie. I know. So nobody else can see you, huh? Only you. And Hisashi. Dad can see you. Every time you visit him he smiles at me. But I don't see I'm back. Toga walked over with a water bottle and a small cup. I got you water. Thank you, Toga. Izuka said, taking said water. You found a nice one. Izuka suddenly had a very awkward feeling. She's been with me this whole time. Oh God, did she see everything? Inko chuckled. Don't worry. I went to other rooms for that. Izuka exhaled with relief. Thank you for the water, babe. Are you feeling okay now? Izuka nodded. Should we get back to the festival? Yeah. Let's go. The two walked back to the seats, running into Power Loader and Recovery Girl along the way. Hey. Are you okay? Shinama was saying I'm fine now. Izuka said quietly. Just a little overwhelmed by Class 1A, that's all. Recovery Girl hobbled up to Izuka and gave her a peck on the hand. Izuka felt her cuts mend. The teachers hadn't noticed. That should be good. I can't cure anxiety, but I can give a brief soothing effect. Take a few gummies, and come to me if you have another panic attack. Izuka nodded. Thank you. The teachers gave the couple a smile as they walked back to their group. Where have you two been? Hatsumi's fight started up a while ago. Mina said. Sorry. Panic attack. Izuka mumbled. Mina was immediately by her side. Are you okay? Do you need water or anything? Maybe a snack? Izuka smiled. I'm fine now. But thank you, Mina. It means a lot. The pink girl smiled back. No problem. Just let me know if you need anything. I should correct myself. You found yourself quite a few good ones. Izuka blushed. So how's Hatsumi doing? She's up against Ice Boy. Mirko said. He challenged you, right? Izuka nodded. He is very determined. Let's see if he can win it then. Todoroki dodged a bolt of lightning and sent another wave of ice towards Hatsumi. The young inventor flipped into the air, and landed on the ice sheet, before beginning to skate around. Marvelous. Your ice is certainly durable. Todoroki gave a huff and coated his arms in ice once again, before moving forward. Damn. I'm slower. Almost at my frost limit. Hatsumi seemed to notice his drop in speed, as she skated towards him and readied her attacks. I'll have to block. Now. Todoroki punched the ground, making a wall of ice erupt in front of him. The ice was reduced to powder snow as Hatsumi smashed through it with a strong punch. Ooh. Nice one. Todoroki took the chance and froze Hatsume's arm in place, before running in to hit her with a punch. Hatsume broke free of the ice and grabbed Todoroki's arms, before pinning him to the ground. Todoroki. Can you still fight? Shito struggled for a minute. She's strong. They all are. Todoroki, can you still fight? I can't win this. I can't go on to fight her. Todoroki is a voice cut through Shito's mind. What you have been given isn't a curse. Shito exhaled. His cold breath hanging on the air. Unable to, it's a gift. Flames erupted from Todoroki's left side. Hatsume leapt back, flames singeing the ends of her hair. Hatsume smiled. There you go. Get into it. Make it a challenge for me to win. Sorry. Todoroki grinned, ice melting all over the arena. But I made a promise. Hatsume leapt forward as Todoroki took a step. Ice spread not just on the ground, but through the air as the temperature dropped. Snowflakes formed midair, and Todoroki was shot upwards as a spire of ice rapidly grew underneath him. Thank you, my Hatsume. And you too, Yumi Shodai. Todoroki dove headfirst into the arena, corkscrewing through the air as flames wreathed his form. Hatsume grinned and brought up her gauntlets. Freezer burn. The stadium exploded. Shockwaves radiated outwards from where the two students collided. Midnight was knocked from her podium. Cementos brought up a dome around himself which was destroyed. Izuka and her group stood tall in their spot, every student around them ducked as the wind rushed over them. The explosion's effects dissipated. Midnight slowly got to her feet as Cementos fixed the stage. Power definitely isn't everything. We could see that from Hatsume's ingenuity. But Todoroki is amazing. Izuka smiled as the steam on the stage dissipated, showing Todoroki standing in front of Hatsume. The young inventor had been pushed out of bounds by the explosion. Hatsume is out of bounds. Todoroki moves on to fight Yumi Shodai in the semi-finals. The crowd roared. Hatsume grinned. Well, look at you. Todoroki gave a tired smile. Yeah. Come on. Hatsume slung Todoroki's arm over her shoulder and walked off, giving everybody a wave. We'll move on to the final match of the second round in a little while. First, a word from our sponsors. Todoroki smiled. There. I did it. I get to fight her. Hatsume smiled as they stepped into the hallway. Yeah. You've got a little bit before that happens. Spend it with your girlfriend. Girlfriend? Uraraka waved from the end of the hallway. Exactly. Girlfriend. Izuka smiled as Todoroki walked off of the stage with Hatsume. Looking to add more to your love circle? You already have that metal boy. Why another boy? Izuka blushed. Mom. I hope you can hear my thoughts. I'm not thinking of bringing him into our relationship. I want to get him to join his brother. Oh sweetie, I'm just picking on you. Besides, all these girls are very nice to you. They could still get to be a bit much at times. And what would you know about dating girls? Do you really think that Mitsuki and I were only best friends? We used to date. And we used to do a little more after we broke up. Didn't need to know that. The spirit giggled. Oh Izuka. You've grown up too fast. And while we're at it. Mitsuki. Katsuki. What do you want to know about him? You want to kill him. Don't you? Izuka bit her lip. Probably not what you were expecting from your daughter. Inko drifted in front of Izuka and ran her ghostly hand down Izuka's scar once more. Sweetie. I never could help you. He's a reason you have this scar now. It's one of his. I know it. Yeah. So? I can't change your mind, and after looking through your memories of him, I don't think I want to. I'm so sorry. A tear rolled down Izuka's cheek. Inko touched it, but it just rolled through her. Come on. No tears. You've been through so much, you can't cry now. Do you know about All Might? Izuka was a bit shocked that Inko's spirit exuded an aura of rage. Mirko shifted in her seat. Hey Yumi. Is that you? Izuka looked at the rabbit hero. Sorry. I just looked at him. Mirko nodded. I'm going with Ashido and Tetsuya to get a drink. You wanna come along? I'm fine for now. But, thank you. Mirko smiled. Okay. Izuka turned her attention back to her mother's ghost. How did you never underestimate a mother's rage? If I were alive, I'd kill him myself. Izuka giggled. Toga looked up at her. You okay? Yeah, just thought of something funny. Never thought I'd hear you say that. Sweetie, I'd love to watch him die. At least you and your father can take him down, together. Speaking of, where is Dad? Ah yes. You don't know. Mom. Who is he? Your father. He is the man who brought you back. All for one? Yes. You know him by that name. But I knew him as Hisashi. He left when you were born to protect us. That's one reason I was worried about you being a hero, in case you had to fight him. Well now. I don't have to fight him. I have to fight All Might. I'll watch you do it. Inko smiled. So keep working hard. Izuka nodded and smiled. Inko gave her daughter a ghostly kiss on the cheek and sat back down in a seat. Thank you. No problem. What are mothers for? Chapter 26, Awakening. It's time for the last fight of the second round. The explosive boy WHO's shown amazing battle prowess. Katsuki Bakugo. His opponent is the mysterious, mind controller. Hitoshi Shinso. The crowd cheered as the two fighters took their positions. Izuka glared at the blonde. She could feel anger drifting off of Inko's ghost. So you are mad at him? I never said I wasn't. Izuka smirked and turned her attention back to the fight. Midnight raised her whip. Ready? Begin. Isn't it great to be born with an amazing quirk like that? Bakugo gritted, his teeth as Shinso tried to undermine him. Don't talk. You'll lose control. Bakugo dashed forward with one for all. Orange lightning crackling all over his body. Shin scoffed. And not one, but two. You really are a lucky bastard. Someone who does everything right. You think that Bakugo stopped? His eyes grew hazy. Shinso grinned. Too easy. Shit. I let my guard down. Good blondie, now turn around and walk out of the arena. Bakugo felt his body move on its own. His legs betrayed him. Damn it. Damn it. Bakugo neared the edge of the fighting ring. He could see the edge. 5 steps. No. 4 steps. No. 3 steps. Bakugo saw glowing eyes from the doorway into the stadium hallways. What? A shadow detached from the hallway, the form of a man walked up to meet him. Is anybody else seeing this? 2 steps. The shadow grabbed his left hand and brought its head up to his ear. Use it well. The shadow was sucked into Bakugo's hand. 1 step. A shock ran up Bakugo's arm, snapping him out of the trance. Bakugo heaved a breath and stumbled away from the line. How did you break free? Bakugo whirled around to see Shinso's face full of shock. He flexed his fingers and dashed forward, without a quirk. You really are lucky. You even have my quirk bowing to you. Shinso sneered. Bakugo gritted his teeth and punched Shinso in the stomach. The boy slid backwards and coughed. Shinso dodged Bakugo's next blow and sent one of his own, punching Bakugo in the face. Bakugo rubbed his jaw and caught Shinso's next attack, before rolling back and slamming him into the ground. The purple-haired student bounced off of the ground. Bakugo leapt to his feet and delivered a roundhouse kick, propelling Shinso out of bounds. Hitoshi Shinso is out of bounds. Katsuki Bakugo moves on to the semifinals. Bakugo breathed out and looked at his hand. A flicker of darkness spiraled around it, before disappearing. What was that? Bakugo shook his head and walked off the stage, grabbing Shinso's hand as he did so. Come on eyebags, we need to talk. Shinso blinked confusedly. But followed the blonde out of the fighting grounds. Bakugo shot a look to All Might in the seats. The blonde's face hardened and he nodded. Come on. Izuka sat in the waiting room. Are you sure you'll be okay? Toga sat next to her, still worrying. I'll be fine, babe. Izuka smiled. Don't worry. I'm over it. I hope so. We'll keep a close eye on you from the stands. I'll be waiting in the hall when you're done. Izuka giggled. As I said, no reason to worry. You already have it covered. Power Loader walked into the room. You're up. Go get him. Izuka grinned. I will, sensei. The scarred girl got up and left. Power Loader turned to Toga. Is she really okay, Shinama? Toga sighed. I really hope so. She said she is. We'll just have to trust her. You saw what? Toshinori stood with Bakugo in the hallways. Shinso was off to the side, unable to hear their conversation. I saw the successors. One of them came up to me and went into my hand. What did they say? Something like, use it wisely. Odd. I had one vision of the successors before. But it was brief, just my master introducing me to everybody else, and the story of One for All. Whatever they gave you will be a valuable tool in the coming years. Do you have any idea what it could be? At the end of the fight, there was a shadow on my arm. Black energy of some sort. Toshinori snapped his fingers. I got it. Black whip. Black what now? Toshinori pulled out his cell phone and showed it to Bakugo. On the phone was a document containing several names. Toshinori tapped one and opened a new page. A man with black energy coating his hands was displayed above a detailed analysis of some sort. Goro Banjo. The fifth holder of One for All. You've heard of the Pro Hero Lariat? Bakugo nodded. He had a very useful quirk. It could be used for travel, attack, rescue, restraining. His quirk. Black Whip. I think that it's somehow been passed to you, through One for All. But how could it the story of One for All? It was created when two quirks merged. Maybe every quirk it encounters gets saved in it somehow. So there's a chance that you inherit several other quirks. I'll have to do a lot more training. Toshinori nodded. You'll definitely have to push yourself. Black Whip gave Goro a lot of trouble when he was training. I'm sure it's only gotten more powerful since then. I might know a way to help. Oh God. I'll have to send him to Torino, won't I? Bakugo nodded. I'll leave it to you. But with that said, I'll be bowing out of the tournament. But nothing. If this quirk is hard to control like you said, and it's stronger, I can't risk going in there inexperienced. I could get hurt, or worse hurt somebody else. Toshinori looked at the boy in front of him. He's definitely grown. He's a better successor than I could ever hope for. Okay. Why did you bring young Shinso here? I want him to brainwash me. See if I can see the successors again. Toshinori shook his head. Not today. You need Aizawa there with you, and he'll be busy right now. Bakugo nodded. Fine. But I need to talk to Shinso. Do what you will. Just don't attack him, please. I don't attack people. Toshinori gave a thumbs up. I'll be back in my seat. Enjoy the last matches. Toshinori walked off. Bakugo walked over to Shinso. Shinso? Why did you want me? The boy raised an eyebrow. I wanted to tell you. I'm not perfect. Please. I've heard it all already. I created a villain. Possibly the worst in history. Okay, never heard that one before. Good excuse though. Listen to me. Shinso stopped and stared at Bakugo. Sorry. Look. When the USJ was attacked, there was a villain. They took on the entire faculty at the same time and won. Yeah. Everybody knows. We all heard about it and were warned. What about it? The villain's name. Izuka Midoriya. Shinso said. She's quirkless, and one of the leaders of the League of Villains. The teachers already told us all of this. Did they happen to tell you that she's our age? Shinso looked at Bakugo wide-eyed. They said she was 20. Short for her age. Even showed us a picture. This picture? Bakugo held up his phone, displaying a picture of Izuka from the USJ. Yeah. That's her. Bakugo swiped to the side and showed another picture. Izuka and Bakugo smiling together as kids. That's her and me. We used to be best friends. Shinso looked at the phone for a minute, before nodding. Okay. So what does that have to do with you then? Ever wonder why she became a villain? She never got a quirk and I did. I bullied her for years. And then she disappeared after I suicide baited her. And so she became a villain now. And, probably the worst one ever seen. All because of me. Shinso was speechless. Sorry. I just had to get that off of my chest. That's why I am where I am. I want to save her. Shinso nodded. You have good ideals. You used to be more of a jerk, but you seem to have grown. My quirk. I always saw it as villainous. So I kind of act like an asshole a lot. I'm sorry if I hurt you with whatever I said. Shinso was stunned as Bakugo wrapped him in a hug. Your quirk isn't villainous. You could do a lot of good with it. Stop whole gangs with no casualties. Stop robberies with just a sentence. Your quirk isn't villainous, just misunderstood. Shinso blinked tears out of his eyes. Thank you, Katsuki Bakugo. That means a lot. Bakugo smiled. No problem. Now let's get back to the festival, shall we? Due to some last-minute complications, Katsuki Bakugo has bowed out of the tournament. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The crowd clapped loudly. Izuka sighed. Well, guess I can't take him down today. Instead, we'll be mixing some stuff up. Shito Todoroki will move on to the finals instead of facing Yumi Shodai right here and now. Instead, Shodai's opponent will be none other than Shina Miyuko. Izuka chuckled. Well, I haven't sparred with her in a while. Toga walked up onto the stage. You ready? Izuka took a fighting stance. I'm always ready. Midnight raised her whip. Ready? Begin. Toga and Izuka both dashed forward. They became a blur as they fought back and forth. Neither landed a hit on their opponent, and they leapt away. Huh. Must be getting slower. Izuka grinned. Me too. We really should start running again. Toga grinned. 3 miles after the festival? Izuka raised an eyebrow. Sure? Toga said. Midnight cracked her whip. Can you two focus on the fight and not your opponent's training regimen? Izuka and Toga both rolled their eyes. Fine. Both students kicked off of the ground and engaged each other once again. They moved so fast that they actually disappeared. The only sign of them still being in the arena being the shockwaves that flew outward. What is going on? I can't see a thing. Yumi Shodai and Shina Miyuko, Aizawa spoke as a holographic screen popped up above the fighting ring. It showed a slowed-down video of the fight. Izuka and Toga were both fighting using martial arts, dodging, blocking, and attacking fluidly. These two students are different from the others. They've known each other for a while. Shinama's quirk only allows her to disguise herself, which is good for infiltration and the like, but isn't a battle-suited quirk. Yumi herself is quirkless, so both of these girls use martial arts in their fights. They both seem very skilled. They could probably take me down. What a flattering compliment from Eraserhead. You can tell he has his eyes on these ones for saying something like that. I'm not kidding. They're both fast. They don't rely on my quirks, they don't need them. Someone like me would struggle against them, as they've trained enough to make their weaknesses non-existent. Izuka landed a hit on Toga. The blonde appeared in a deep crater in the arena floor, a grin on her face. She leapt back up into the battle once again. Midnight could barely keep herself steady from the shockwaves coming from the fight. These two. Incredible. Izuka was hit by Toga, and appeared in a second crater, a crazy grin on her face. She also leapt back to end the fight. They're dealing hits like that and taking them without a care in the world. It's somewhat terrifying. Stronger shockwave blasted Midnight off of her feet. Izuka and Toga both landed on opposite sides of the arena and skidded backwards. Izuka whipped out her staff and ran in. Toga countered with the backs of her hands, before grabbing the staff and swinging it over her head. Izuka jumped, flipping over Toga and twisting the staff out of her hands. She whirled around and brought the staff to Toga's throat. "Well? Do you concede?" "You know I do. Go on, fight Ice Boy." Toga smiled. "I'll be waiting for you when you win. I know you'll be fine." Izuka smiled and collapsed the staff. "Thank you." They both bowed. Toga grabbed Izuka's fist and raised it up in the air. "I concede. Yumi Shodai moves on." Midnight relayed the information through her megaphone, and the crowd cheered. "And just like that, we're on to the finals. See you all in 5. Chapter 27, Clash of Titans. It's time for the final match of the sports festival. Can I get a hee? The crowd cheered. That's the spirit. You've watched her keep her lead the entire festival. She's made history by climbing the ranks without a quirk. Give it up for Yumi Shodai. The crowd roared as Izuka walked out onto the field. The girl smiled and waved as she took her position in the ring. Her opponent is the Temperature Master. Thawed by his OWN fire, we have Shito Todoroki. An equally excited cheer erupted from the stands. Shito grinned and waved, before taking his own stance. Midnight raised her whip. "Ready? Begin." Todoroki started out with an ice attack, sending 2 spires diagonally to the edge of the arena, shortening Izuka's movement space. He then raised his left hand and shot a massive line of fire at his opponent. And we're starting OFF hot with a huge fire attack from Todoroki. Todoroki stopped the fire. Izuka stood there unharmed. Her sports uniform had burned away, leaving only her underarmor. "I'm so glad that this wig is fireproof." Izuka rushed forward and pulled out a metal ball. With a click, the object extended into a 6-foot metal staff. Izuka whirled the weapon around as she approached Todoroki. E-boy repeated his attack in an attempt to push Izuka back. When the flames cleared, Izuka was spinning her staff, untouched yet again by the flame. "Okay. Hold up a moment." Izuka stabbed her staff into the ground and took her hands off of it, moving to her sleeves. She pulled, once, and her shirt unraveled, before rewinding around her and becoming a sports bra. "That's better." Izuka plucked her staff out of the ground and disappeared. A crater was left where she stood. Where did she? Todoroki's instincts screamed for him to duck, so he did. Izuka's punch sailed past him. "She's fast." Todoroki punched Izuka in the stomach, sending her backwards. He shook his hand off. "Damn. For a second I thought you were Kirishima." Izuka grinned. "Having fun?" Todoroki took on a ready stance. "Oh, you have no idea. I wanna see your full power. Come at me." Todoroki stomped the ground. "If you insist." A glacier erupted from the ground, encasing Izuka in several feet of ice. Midnight raised her whip. Yumi Shodai as the glacier cracked. "Oh, come on." The glacier split apart and collapsed, revealing Izuka standing with a crazed smile. Water dripped down her arms. Her body glowed faintly. A few spectators began shouting. "That's a quirk. She's not quirkless. It seems that Yumi Shodai has shown her trump card." "Your thoughts, Eraser?" "Shodai has been using this power the entire time. I can confirm that it is actually not a quirk. Within a specific percentage of the global population, some are able to break past their physical limits and achieve incredible power. Such power is achieved after sustaining an enormous amount of mental, physical, and emotional training. Most of the time, those who achieve this state are insane, driven mad by their training. The Hero Association calls for their arrest. But in this case, Shodai is mentally sound, and willing to fight for the side of justice. It may look like a quirk, but this is the extent of her physical strength. Wow. And just like that, There's a new phenomenon occurring. The first quirkless in recorded history to show incredible power. Izuka grit her teeth. Really? You two didn't know any of that until I told you about it. Making ourselves look knowledgeable. And mentally sound? Really? You're dumber than I thought. Watch out, sweetie. Izuka cartwheeled out of the way as a wave of fire swept towards her. Thanks, Mom. No problem. Ooh. He certainly is determined. I said your full power, Shadow. Show me everything. Izuka disappeared, the ice on the field shattered as she kicked off from the ground. Todoroki only had time to create a wall of ice before a shockwave sent him into the air. The boy grinned as he felt his leg ache. Damn. She probably broke it. Well, she wants everything, so I'll give it to her. The crowd oohed as massive icicles grew off of Shadow. It looked as if a star had appeared in the air above the stadium. Midnight's eyes widened. Cementos. Already on it. Izuka grinned as the teachers panicked. Spires of cement launched up from the stadium floor in an attempt to stop the attack. She could be killed. Toshinori turned into All Might and leapt into the sky, but it was too late. Izuka was now a bit pissed. She hated what the heroes had said. She channeled her strength into one arm and punched the ground, crushing the cement spires with a shockwave and knocking All Might back. What the hell are you doing? Izuka grinned as her blonde hair whipped around on the wind. I'm showing you all. The whole world. All Might's eyes widened. In her seat, Toga grinned. Mirko thumped her foot. Tetsu clanged his fists together. Mina shook for a minute, before seeing everybody's confidence. She began cheering as loud as she could. Hatsune cackled loudly. Students and spectators turned to the group as if they were crazy, before being drawn back to the fight, where Izuka glowed a bit brighter. Quirkless. The ice star shattered. Large icicles rained down. Izuka dodged the first falling spears. Todoroki spun around, creating a few more spires of ice as he continued to rise up, his velocity slowing as gravity tried to pull him down. Doesn't. Izuka leapt up the icicles that continued to fall. The sky lit up in orange as Todoroki let out all the fire he could handle. Hues of orange blasted across the sky. Mean. People all over the world watched as the two students wielding incredible power began their titanic clash. Far away on the shores of the United States, families looked out their windows to see a bright light illuminate the sky. Useless. An explosion tore through the stadium as Todoroki dove. Izuka planted her foot on a melting chunk of ice and leapt up. All of the melting ice below her turned to dust, then water, then steam. The cloud covered the entire stadium, blocking the vision of everybody. They could only see a bright orange glow as Todoroki came down. Or defenseless. The steam was blasted away as the two students' fists met. A shockwave sliced through the air, destroying the top of the stadium. Next came the flames, which fell down like a waterfall, bathing the arena in intense heat. Several heroes in the stands worked together to create a see-through barrier between the fight and the spectators. Midnight dove to Cementos, who caught her and protected himself and the R-rated hero with several domes of cement. The flames cleared, and the air was still. For a brief moment, Izuka and Todoroki stayed locked in midair. Todoroki's arm was encased in ice. Izuka's crazy grin seemed to push against Todoroki as they clashed. Their arms shaking as they pushed against each other. Flames flying out of Todoroki's left side as he boosted himself. Another explosion shook the arena as the flames ceased and a sphere of ice encapsulated the two fighters. The ball fell and shattered. Both teens lay sprawled on the completely destroyed arena floor. Todoroki and Izuka slowly got to their feet. Todoroki had overused her quirk, Izuka had strained her muscles against his full force. Guess these students might be better than the heroes think. I'll have to train more. Izuka ran forward at a normal speed and punched Todoroki. The boy stumbled back and rushed at her in the same way, hitting her with a chop to the shoulder. The two continued, scrapping back and forth until they locked arms to shoulders and began pushing. Todoroki was pushed back a bit, but managed to create a bit of ice to stabilize himself. He pushed back more, and Izuka found a bit more strength to counter. They both grinned at each other. Having RRRGGG fun? You GRRR have no idea. Todoroki headbutted Izuka, sending her reeling. The girl recovered quickly and slapped Todoroki across the face. They locked bodies once again and wrestled. Izuka headbutted Todoroki, who stood his ground. She pushed against him and felt him give a little. "This'll be the last of what I have. I hope it works." Izuka kneed Todoroki in the stomach, causing him to double over. She then punched him across the face, knocking him out. The arena was silent. Midnight stumbled out of a pile of rubble and looked at the result. Yumi Shodai. Why Yumi Shodai wins? The crowd roared loudly, their cheers shaking the stadium. Inside the announcer's box, Mikushikazawa. SHEDIDIT. Did you see that eraser? That was bloody insane. Izuka's friends roared louder than anybody else. Mirko thumped her feet and screamed in excitement. Tetsu yelled loud enough to make his throat hurt. Toga screamed at the top of her lungs. Hatsum threw something into the air, which exploded into a firework. Mina was crying acid. Class 1A was miffed. That was amazing, sweetie. Inko's ghost cheered. Thanks, Mom. Izuka passed out standing up. Midnight and Simitas rushed to the two students' aid. As far as I can tell, they somehow didn't sustain major internal or external injuries, just some broken bones and scratches. They'll need recovery from Roof for this one. Simitas said. Midnight nodded. Then let's get them there as fast as we can. I'll take care of it. All Might landed in front of them. Simitas, you need to help repair the arena. The cement hero nodded. On it. Is there any major internal damage? Nezu walked out onto the field. The only major damage is the roof. The hallways and internal structure remain sound. Everything should be good. Those two. They're incredible. No doubt that they will bring about a new era. In her half-conscious state, Izuka saw Inko smile. They don't know how right they are. 45 minutes later, Izuka stood at the top of the placement pedestal. Todoroki stood on the second-place platform, while Toga stood on the third-place platform. All Might handed out the medals, and the festival ended. The students all dispersed. Tetsu called his mom and said he would be going to a sleepover that night. Hatsum did the same. Mina headed home. Mirko followed Izuka, Hatsum, Toga, and Tetsu into the city. After a few minutes, they entered a rundown building and a portal opened. They all stepped through to emerge into Izuka's bedroom. Welcome to the Vanguard building. This is mine and Toga's room. Ask whatever. We have a little bit. So how did you two become villains? Tetsu asked. Lost faith in society. Both replied at the same time. How do you train? Mirko asked. Daily spars. Izuka answered. Night patrols. Killing. Missions. Mirko nodded. Okay, fair enough. So what are we doing next then? Well, with the time we have, we can do some training. I have to go see Sensei. Hatsum, Toga, can you go do some lifting with them? Both nodded. Sure thing. Izuka pulled out a phone and dialed Kurogiri. A portal swirled into existence. Izuka stepped through and appeared before All for One. Ah. Hello Izuka. We need to talk. Izuka said. Dad. All for One's lips curled into a smile. When did you find out? When she saw me. Hello Hisashi. Ah. Finally, I can speak with you. Hello my love. I'm so sorry that I wasn't by your side when you passed. Inko's ghost smiled. It's okay darling. I'm glad that I get to see you again, and watch over Izuka. I have some questions. Izuka said. For one. Why can't I see Mom now? All for One pondered it for a minute. You were dead when you came to me. Those who have seen death can see some spirits. For you, your mother. It probably activated after a stressful situation. Izuka nodded. Okay. Mom. How did you meet Dad? He broke into a place I worked at. I caught him, but fell in love with him at first sight. After he got away, I tracked him down and confessed. Then we got involved with each other, and you were born, so Dad. Why didn't you tell me? I was afraid. All for One said. After you were born, All Might learned of my location in Japan. I had to run to keep you safe. I have no shortage of money, so I sent some to you all the time. I didn't know that Inko had passed away. And then your body showed up. I was slightly heartbroken. I could see your spirit leaving your body, and Inko's was hovering there, keeping you from moving on. So then I brought you back. Ink told me what had happened, and I gave you a new family, in the hopes that if you couldn't become a hero, you could still help me remake the world. Izuka felt tears run down her face. So all this time? All for One nodded. And you've become the greatest. The most powerful I've ever seen. Why didn't you give me a quirk? I couldn't. All for One said. Heroes watched you and Inko for too long. I was out of the loop. By the time I saw you again you had died. You could no longer hold a quirk. Izuka sat down on the floor. So then. What do I do now? Sweetie. You do what you set out to do. You change the world. Do you have any ideas of what to do as your next step? All for One asked. I have a few. Izuka smiled, but first, I need to expand the vanguard. I know just who to start with. Izuka leapt across the rooftops of Hong Kong. Tetsutetsu, Mirko, Toga, and Hatsum were with her. It was Tetsutetsu's first run as a villain. Alright. We got an alleyway of thugs down there. A good test. Izuka said as she stopped on a rooftop. Kill them, and see what you can do with their blood. Tetsutetsu nodded. Izuka leapt down with him to help. The boy took out the first thug silently. He bit the dead man's neck and began draining him. Izuka noticed his hair darken as he drained the man completely. The four other men in the alleyway noticed the duo and attacked. Izuka dodged the edge of a knife and punched through the first man's chest, grabbing his heart and taking it. Hey Tetsutetsu. Open up. The girl tossed the organ over her shoulder. Tetsutetsu leapt up and swallowed it in a single gulp. I'm ready. Izuka switched with Tetsutetsu as the remaining three men ran in to attack. Tetsutetsu punched, his arm much more muscly than it had been. When he hit the first man, his arm became steel. He thrust out his other arm and hit the next man, becoming full steel in the process. Was he always that muscly? Or is it the blood? Tetsutetsu clenched his fists and grunted. His skin became patterned. The metal darkened. His hair elongated and became blood red. Tetsutetsu's face morphed as his lower canines became tusks. His hands became twisted claws. Damascus. Berserker. The three men rushed forward again. The first didn't even make it 2 steps as he had a hole punched through him. The second was slapped back into the alleyway. Tetsutetsu grabbed the third. You look scared. Don't be scared. Tetsutetsu opened his mouth, and the man knew no more. I see why you like this. Such flavor. Izuka grinned. Welcome to the league, baby. The sound of footsteps rang out. Mirko walked out of the depths of the alleyway holding the head of the last thug. Seriously. I get to go all out, no holding back. It feels nice. I can't wait for the fun battles. Izuka shuddered with excitement as she saw Mirko's tail stained red. Oh God. I fell for you. Toga hopped down from the rooftops with Hatsum. But is that a bad thing? Tetsutetsu felt a little awkward. All 4 girls turned to him. You were really badass. Wanna go back and fool around? Izuka smiled. Wait. What? Baby. You're a villain now, you gotta know how to work like one. Toga said, walking up beside him and placing a hand on his chest. You'll be my first man. I call first dibs. Mirko said. Nope. Izuka said. You and me, Mirko. Let's go. A portal opened up and Dobby stepped through. You all good now? The group nodded. Alright, go through then. You'll get back to your room. I'll burn these and head back to my room. Have a fun. Whatever, Izuka smirked as her company walked through the portal. Come on, Mirko. Show me how you bounce. Chapter 28, Tempered Steel. Izuka sat at the workbench with Hatsum. They were busy tinkering on a few gadgets for Toga and SushuiTemitsu. How's the supply coming? Putting on the last adjustments now. Izuka had been working on an iron supply for SushuiTemitsu. It would be mounted on his back, and would be able to transfer iron directly into his bloodstream. Hatsum was busy working on a completely new suit for Toga. The suit had Toga's DNA integrated into its fibers, allowing it to transform with the girl. How's the suit coming? Actually, I'm just about done. A few clanks and bangs later, Izuka held up the finished iron supply. Hatsum held up the transforming suit. Looks good, you two, Power Loader smiled. Want me to call them in for you? Izuka and Hatsum nodded. Power Loader went to the phone. So how did your talk with Sensei go? Hatsum asked in a low voice. I'll tell you later. Hatsum nodded and Power Loader hung up the phone. All right, you two. SushuiTemitsu and Toga will be over soon. Do you two need anything else? Izuka and Hatsum shook their heads. We're good, thank you. Power Loader gave a thumbs up. Alright then. 2 minutes later, SushuiTemitsu and Toga walked through the door to the studio. Izuka appeared beside them and led them into the private studio. Alrighty. First, SushuiTemitsu. Your iron supply for here. Do you need one for when we... SushuiTemitsu shook his head and grinned. No, because then I'm free to use our prey as an iron supply. Izuka nodded. Okay. Toga, your new suit. Toga slipped the suit on, and it turned into a school uniform. This'll change with you. It also absorbs blood, so it won't stain. Izuka said. But you can adjust that feature if you want. Toga smiled. Hatsum, you're a genius. Babe, you have no idea how much I want you right now. You always say that. Izuka chuckled. Toga kissed her. It's because I always want you. Izuka purred, but then heard footsteps approaching the door. SHHH. Act natural. Power Loader popped his head in. Oh good. You guys look great. Yumi, Hatsum. You two can have the next bit of time. Since you already have done everything. Izuka and Hatsum nodded. Thank you, Sensei. The teacher flashed a smile and ducked back out of the room, closing the door behind him. Izuka rolled her eyes and snapped her fingers. A small robot crawled out from under the workbench and folded out into a wall, covering the door perfectly. Soundproofing. Come on guys, we've got time. Izuka pulled her shirt back on and straightened herself out. How the hell do you last so fucking long? SushuiTemitsu panted. Baby, you have fucking no idea. You'll get there someday. Besides, a half hour isn't long. She and I once went a whole night. Toga said, pulling on her uniform. Honestly, we could probably do more now. We just lasted that long because UMMPH. Oops. No divulging secrets. Toga blushed. Sorry, it's the one thing I'm sensitive about in this area of expertise. Izuka chuckled. So, what is Vlad King gonna say when you two get back? He won't care. He shifted his attention from SushuiTemitsu and me to Monoma and a few other kids. Toga said. He's just mad that I conceded to you and that SushuiTemitsu lost against the redhead. He's a poor excuse for a teacher. SushuiTemitsu growled. When we put your plan into motion, I want him to be mine. Izuka smirked. Sounds like somebody has an enemy. Damn right. Tetsu said. Just let him wait. It'll be fun to watch him squirm as I kill him slowly. Toga purred. Ooh. You're speaking my love language, Damascus. Mine too. Izuka blew a kiss. But seriously, you two should get back to class or I'll get in trouble. Wait. We can come with you. You sure you wanna do that? Like Sensei said, we've got time. Hatsum said, pulling on the jacket. Come on, let's go. Toga rolled her eyes. We gotta wait for Metal Boy to get dressed. Oh shit. Tetsu leapt up. Sorry about that. 2 minutes later, he was in his uniform, looking like nothing had ever happened. So, to class, right? The group walked out of the workshop and to the hero course wing. They weaved through the school hallways and eventually came to a large door. Huh. You guys really do have big doors. Izuka said. I thought people were just joking about that. Tetsu nodded. So that King Sensei has gotten to be a jerk lately. Specifically to me and Shinama. Just a heads up. Izuka and Hatsum nodded. Tetsu walked through the door. And where have you been? Vlad King stood at the front of the classroom, his arms crossed. Nito Monoma gave a chuckle, as did a few other students. Did I not say 5 minutes? We've been waiting for you for a half hour. Excuse me, sir, but their tardiness is my fault. I got carried away explaining their suits. Izuka said. Vlad King scowled. Oh. I didn't see you there. Apologies, young Shodai. Well, now that everybody's here, we can get to training. Are you two staying with us? We need to run some diagnostics on Tetsu and Shinama. So yes, we're going to stay with your class. Izuka said. Vlad King said nothing, he just led the class, plus the support students, to training ground Omega. Okay, today we'll be testing your quirk output again. We'll see how much you've grown since the beginning of the year. Tetsu, you'll be taking attacks from everybody. Hey, that's uncalled for. Toga began. Miss Yuko, he has a hardening quirk. He should be fine, unless he isn't suited for becoming a hero. Izuka grit her teeth at the teacher's comment. That was low. I really wanna see Tetsu smash you to pieces now. Tetsu was also gritting his teeth, but he stepped forward and took his position. Vlad King smirked. Shiozaki, you're up. Ibara Shiozaki stepped forward. She sent her vines into the ground and grabbed Tetsu, restraining him. She then proceeded to pick him up and slam him into the floor. Excellent job, Shiozaki. Tetsu, get up. Izuka gritted her teeth more as Tetsu pushed himself to his feet. She could see the rage sparking in his eyes. All right. Next up his. And so it continued for the next half hour. Students tested their strength on Tetsu while Izuka, Hatsum, and Toga failed to stop them. Toga refused to take part in the test and was given a 0. All right. Monoma, you're up last. No, Monoma stepped up. Izuka noticed that he had 2 hairs and a vine tied on his wrist. First, I have Shiozaki's quirk. Monoma demonstrated his control over the power. Next, I have Present Mix quirk. Monoma screamed. The high frequency resonated with Tetsu perfectly, causing his body to vibrate, and his quirk to fail. Tetsu. Vlad King barked. Don't tell me you're giving up now. Tetsu gritted his teeth and reactivated his quirk. He began vibrating again as Monoma shouted. The metal boy gave a shout of pain, but withstood the attack. And lastly, Rakido Sato's quirk. Sugar Rush. Monoma brought out a few sugar cubes and popped them into his mouth. His arms bulged with the power of the quirk and he rushed in for a punch. Tetsu caught his fist. Tetsu. You are not Vlad King began. Oh, shut up. We both know that you were making an example of me. Of how weak I am. Tetsu growled. So what if I did? Yeah. Monoma grunted. You deserved it for that pitiful loss. You only rode to the one-on-one tournament on the winner's shoulders. Izuka gritted her teeth and took a step forward. Toga stopped her. Tetsu growled. I don't have to take this. The boy crushed Monoma's hand in his grasp. He let go and walked off of the training ground, leaving a screaming Monoma behind him. Izuka, Toga, and Hatsum waved and followed the boy out. Vlad King rushed to check on his student. Tetsu slammed his locker shut hard enough for the metal to be bent. He seethed with rage, as he changed into his civilian clothes, baggy gray pants, a white t-shirt, and a denim jacket. The door to the locker room opened. Tetsu, Izuka said. Calm down. Come with us. It's almost lunchtime. I don't wanna even see that class anymore. I'd rather be in the gen ed course than with those assholes. Come on, man. Just get your badge. Come with us. You know how to play any instruments? Toga asked. I used to play guitar. Dropped it after getting into the hero course. You still have one? Yeah. At my house right now. Was thinking of selling it. It's an old acoustic I restored. Izuka nodded. Okay, we're gonna go pick that up. You're gonna join us on the roof. What the hell are you all planning? Music is a way to unwind. When I first started attacking heroes, I would sing songs. They seemed childlike. I still do it sometimes. It helps me focus on the moment, you know? Izuka said. Every so often, I sing with Toga at Kuragi-ri's bar. You look like you need to do some unwinding right now, so let's go. The group walked out of the locker room. They made their way to the roof, and a portal opened. It goes to your room. Go through, get the guitar, and come back. We'll be waiting. Tetsu stepped through the gate. Stripped out of her uniform and into her civilian clothes. A red flannel over a black shirt. Blue jeans and black shoes. When she was done, Toga changed, then Hatsum. As soon as they were done, Tetsu stepped through. Finally found it. He held up a black guitar case. So what now? Now, we wait for 30 seconds. The bell rang. And then we play. Hey. It's Class 1A. How are you all doing? Tenya Ida, Momo Yarazu, Ijiro Kirishima, Mina Ashido, Kyokujiro, Denki Kaminari, and Katsuki Bakugo turned to see no Monoma with Itsuka Kendo. We're doing okay. How about you? Great, thanks. Mind if we sit down? Bakugo motioned for the two to sit, which they did. So what brings you to our table? You know, we have to keep up class relationships. Monoma said. Ironic, considering you declared our classes rivals before the sports festival. Mina muttered. What was that? Nothing. So where's the silver guy? Mina grinned. Oh, him? He stormed out of class today, got mad at sensei for some reason. He's gotten very emotional since the sports festival. Monoma said innocently. Kendo bit the inside of her lip. I'm so sorry, Tetsu. That's too bad. I feel really bad for beating him like that. Kirishima said. He just needs practice, that's all. I hope he's okay. I'm sure he'll be fine. Itsuka said, taking a bite of food. Hey, do you hear that? Kyoka perked up. Hear what? A guitar. The girl muttered. Who's got a guitar? Could just be somebody playing music on their phone. Yairazu shrugged. No. It's easy to tell the difference. It's coming from outside. Let's move over there. Kyoka got up and moved to an empty table. The students looked at each other and shrugged, before following. At the table, they heard the faint strum of the guitar. Can we open the window? Kyoka questioned. Kirishima grabbed the large panel and pulled, opening the window just a crack. The sound was definitely audible now. Who could be playing a guitar right now? Kyoka whispered. And in a no less. Tetsu sat with his eyes closed. His legs dangled over the edge of the roof. Izuka sat in a similar manner. Toga and Hatsum sat listening as well. Tetsu's hands moved fluidly, coaxing notes from the instrument in his hands as if it were a part of him. A light gust of wind drifted through the air, ruffling Tetsu's hair as he breathed softly. Hatsum and Toga began humming. Izuka sighed. "You really want me to sing, huh?" Toga smiled and nodded, continuing to hum along with Hatsum. "Fine then. It's just gonna be on the fly, you know." Izuka took a breath in, and began singing. "Once upon a midnight dream, I came apart, at the seams, my life wandering, parents, gone, stay alone, my whole life long." Tetsu smiled as Izuka sang. She made her own tune, but it matched his perfectly. "I walked across a road that moved, changed and shifted with my mood, try to keep my feet planted, till I fall through, in my bed I landed." Kyoka stuck her head out of the window, wondering where the music could be coming from. She eventually stabbed her earphone jacks into the wall. "There's somebody on the roof." Tenya seemed offended. "Who would be on the roof singing? That's not what you use your time for. Let's go check it out," Mina said, getting up. "Ooh, it's just a nightmare, that's what they say." Oh, well, how is it different from today? Really, can you say?" The group of students ran up the stairs. Mina's eyes widened as she realized who was singing. "That's Yumi." The group arrived on the roof to see Izuka and her friends sitting near the edge, eyes closed. "That I'll be happy now? My mind is in tatters. Happy now. Hanging from the rafters, till somehow someone finds me and brings me back. It's you who always brings me back. They're really good." Jiro mumbled. "I wish I could find somebody who'd sing that well with me. So, stumble through the morning, dear, walk through this dream as it appears, watch the road shift and change. You can stop it with your brain, use that strong mind of yours, block out all the screams and roars that you can hear. The things that you fear. Do you know what she's singing about?" Monoma asked Mina. "How would I know? Maybe it's just coming from her life experience? Ooh, it's just a nightmare, that's what they say." Oh, well, how is it different from today? You really can't say that I'll be happy now." My psyche flattened. "Happy now. Mind muddied and maddened till somehow someone finds me and brings me back. It's always you who brings me back. Back from what? Just shut up." My hands shaking, legs quaking, mind breaking, keep taking, stop taking, every day my memories erasing, arms down, mouth closed. Just go under, hold your nose. Hiding in a bathroom stall, trying to forget it all. Oh, can you really say? I can be happy now, can I be happy now? Oh, can you really say? I can be happy now, can I be happy now? Because it's just a nightmare. That's what they say. My ribs showing, and my hair is going gray. Can I be happy now? Can I be happy now? When can I be happy now? Tell me how to be happy now. Toga brought her finger up to Izuka's lips as Tetsu strummed a finishing chord. She sang a single note. Rest. Izuka smiled and turned to Tetsu. Better now? The boy nodded and kissed her. Yair Azu gasped loudly. All four students whipped their heads around, their eyes filled with rage. Why are you here? I could ask you the same thing. Students aren't supposed to be on the rooftops during the school day. Tenya Ida said. You should all be in uniform. You two support students should get back to class. And also, relationships are forbidden. Izuka and her friends got to their feet. Tetsu put his guitar back in its case and slung it over his shoulder. He looked behind him, checked his pockets, looked at Izuka and gave a questioning glance to Toga. What are you doing? Monoma asked. Oh, me? Tetsu gave a fake smile. I was just looking for a fuck to give, but then again, you took all of those, right? You shouldn't speak to your classmates in such a Tenya began. And you shouldn't act like a big shot when you're just another student. For your information, I am one of Class 1A's class representatives, Tetsu chuckled. Great. But if you hadn't noticed, I'm in Class 1B. And even then, I don't give a shit about what my class rep has to say. Now move. We're going back to the support studio. Tetsu, Izuka, Toga, and Hatsum walked by. Monoma grabbed Tetsu's wrist. His face fell. Wait. Why can't I? Oh, so sorry. Monoma looked up at Tetsu, who had gone full steel. His skin was different though, patterned. And his hair was blood red. If you were looking for DNA, you won't find it on metal like this. He leaned in close to the blonde. I guess your quirk isn't suited for being a hero. The four students walked down the stairwell, leaving the other students dumbfounded. What the hell? Izuka and her friends walked into the support studio. They immediately went to the private space and sat down. When do we get to reveal ourselves again? Toga groaned. Soon. Very soon. Izuka mumbled. We need a chance to take the healer. There's a training camp coming up for the hero course students after midterms, right? Tetsu nodded. Yeah. Ru's coming along too, just so you know. Izuka grinned. Then I know when we'll strike. Chapter 29, Kenji Hikishi, all for one sat in his chair, a glass of wine in his hand. A table lay before him, a white tablecloth over it. 3 plates lay on the table, the first contained no food. Inko's ghost sat behind it. The second was his, it held a bit of rice and some other food. The third belonged to Izuka, who had dressed up nicely for the first ever Midoriya family dinner. So how is your infiltration of a? Inko asked with a smile. Izuka took a bite of her food, before dabbing her face with a napkin. It's going well. Toga and I have made new allies. They will join the league soon. Describe these. New allies. All for one set his wine down. The first is my lab partner, Hatsumi. She has already joined Toga and I in missions, and has made gear for Toga. The second is a boy with a quirk that makes his skin steel. Tetsu. He too has joined Toga, and I in missions. How do you know that they can be trusted? All for one pondered. They have killed for me already. The heroes also know nothing of our plans. I befriended Hatsum before we attacked the USJ. Toga did the same with Tetsu. Izuka said. All for one smiled. These two are marvelous assets. A hardening quirk would be very useful in our ranks. It's more than hardening, Izuka said. His quirk uses the iron in his bloodstream to turn him into steel. He is the one who lost in the one-on-one in the sports festival. All for one's face broke into a maniac grin. Ah. That one. Yes, he can be trusted. He lost quite badly, and the heroes insulted him for it. They don't know potential when they see it. His quirk is quite powerful. He needs to consume meals high in iron, to keep his quirk working. Turns out nobody thought of blood as a way to get the mineral. Ah. So you've already improved him? Enough to kill a hero. Izuka smiled. But enough of me. Mom, what have you been doing? Inko's ghost smiled. Oh, well, now that you know I'm here, I've been spending time with your father. It's lovely to see our family back together again. It certainly is. All for one said. Even if it is not how I intended, it is nice to be together once more. Dad. I have a question, concerning All Might's quirk. All for one took a bite of food. What is it that you need to know? I need to know its origins. You refer to him as your arch-enemy. Does it have to do with your quirk? The villain nodded. All Might is the latest holder of the quirk. The only one to survive, for so long. The other holders all had their own quirk, and yet Toshinori was the first to be quirkless. He was what? Izuka growled. Inko went over to Izuka's side and gave her a ghostly hug. Sweetie. I'm so sorry. The story of his power and mine are intertwined. His quirk is known as One for All. It was born of my power. I gave a quirk to my younger brother. The quirk allowed him to stockpile energy. I had thought my brother to be quirkless, But he had a useless power. It allowed him to pass on quirks through his DNA. The two powers combined, and one for all was born. Toshinori was the first quirkless to inherit it. This power. Would it be able to stockpile quirks as well? Izuka asked. Now that is a thought. None of the successors displayed powers like their predecessors. But then again, they never lived that long. What makes you ask? Izuka took a sip of water. Inko drifted back to her seat. Katsuki Bakugo is the next successor. I'm sure of it. His power should be explosion, but he used super strength, some type of enhancement. And then, in the sports festival, he controlled some kind of shadow. Can you describe this shadow? All for One asked. It came from his arm. When he was controlled by Hitoshi Shinso. It was hard to see, but there was a flicker of black along his arm. Hatsum told me that it snapped him out of the trance by slapping him. Black whip then. Ah. Tgoro. Inko sighed. Tgoro Banjo. Also known as the Pro Hero Lariat. He was the fifth holder of One for All. That power sounds like his quirk, Black Whip. All for One said. It appears that you are correct. One for All can stockpile quirks. Then what do we do? Izuka asked. I don't think I can stand up to 6 supercharged quirks, and super strength. No. You can't yet. But you will be able to. Give it time. All for One smiled. Now, it's getting late. It appears that you have finished dinner. You are excused. Have a good night, my dear. Thank you, sensei. Izuka bowed. Please, call me father. All for One said. Okay. Thank you, father. Izuka smiled. Now go on. Do your thing. A portal opened, and Izuka stepped through. Kurogiri appeared soon after to clear her dishes, before he too left. Well, sweetie. We still have a bit of time. You're not going to live much longer, are you? My dear, I will become a spirit like you, and help you in watching over our daughter. But when will that be? I feel that time drawing near. I don't know how much longer, all I know is that it will be soon, almost too soon. Izuka stepped into her bedroom, where Toga was busy suiting up. You've got a mission? We have a mission. Toga said. I already emailed the school under our emails, explaining how we'd miss tomorrow and Thursday. We should be back by Friday. Where are we going? Izuka asked, pulling on her outfit. We've got a new potential recruit. Well, she has been hiding in China. A villain that goes by Mag. Huh. How is this gonna go down then? They've been chased out of several countries. They haven't been sighted in Japan yet. So they can join us and remain off of the radar for a bit. But we only have a small window of time. Toga said. We should take these. Toga tossed Izuka her collapsible staff. Just in case, you know. I never drop my sword. Izuka said. But I'll take it. Okay, let's go. A portal opened, and the duo stepped through. It's good that you aren't recognized in that outfit here. Toga said, as they leapt out of the portal and onto the rooftops of King City. Yeah, really, nice. Wait. Magn's in King? Yup. Welcome to the place quirks were born. Toga flipped over an alleyway. We aren't gonna have a hotel this time, you okay with that? Honestly, it's been a while since we spent a night on the streets. Izuka smiled. So are we killing anybody? Toga smiled. If you want. I think Magn still has some enemies here though. We should help them get their business sorted out. Izuka nodded as she vaulted over a ventilation unit. Got it. The duo did a circuit of the entire city, but found nothing. It was easier to find fucking twice. And he was in Tokyo. Izuka grumbled. Yeah. Guess we really will need the extra days. You there? Stop in the name of the law. Izuka rolled her eyes as a squad of heroes leapt across the rooftops to confront them. They uttered the famous catchphrase of all heroes in Chinese. I'm so fucking glad I learned different languages. Otherwise I wouldn't even give these idiots the time of day, Izuka said. Who are you calling idiots? We are the newest heroes in King City. The greatest team of heroes to ever exist. We are, stupid. Shut up, Izuka interrupted. How dare you interrupt me like that, villain? Oh, a villain? I could be a hero like you. Do you chase down heroes you see? So sorry, the heroes shuddered as Izuka disappeared and reappeared behind them. But lucky for you. I'm a villain. The first hero whirled around and took a swipe at Izuka. The girl just ducked the blow and kicked the hero back. Toga grabbed his wrists and twisted, rendering his hands useless. No, the second of the group yelled. Rush her. The three remaining heroes rushed Izuka as Toga held the whimpering form of their team member. Izuka leapt over a strike and planted her foot on one of the villains' faces, before leaping off and axe-kicking another hero. The three heroes stumbled back. Bitch, one spat. Oh please, Izuka said, appearing behind the hero with her sword drawn. I only go by bitch in one situation. You can call me Ghost. Izuka stabbed the hero through the chest faster than the eye could see. Say hello to the rest of the fakes. The hero Toga was restraining gave a shout of anger and tore himself from her grip. He rushed Izuka in a blind rage, not caring if his hands were unusable. He ran face first into Izuka's blade, which killed him instantly. Ah! It certainly does feel good to do this again. Izuka monologued, wiping her blood-stained hand down the side of her face. Toga grinned, before ducking. The two living heroes had attacked her. Bitch, you'll pay for killing them. No, Izuka giggled. I won't. Your fates were already sealed when you decided to be false heroes. Izuka whipped out a knife and hurled it to the side. One of the heroes didn't see it and leapt right into the blade's path, resulting in his leg being stabbed. The knife was buried up to its handle. The hero gave a shout of pain and landed, before ripping the knife out of his leg. Izuka noticed his skin creep back together quickly. So you have a healing factor. Very nice, the hero gritted his teeth and rushed at Izuka with the blade. Izuka spun out of the way and sliced upward, rending the hero in two. Not as good as father's however, the last hero leapt at Toga. The blonde reached out in a flash and grabbed him by the neck. We're looking for a person that goes by the name Mag. You seen them? The hero shook their head. Toga pouted. Oh. I'm sorry then. Well, at least you get to see your friends, Toga squeezed, crushing the man's throat. She dropped his lifeless body without remorse. Izuka smiled. It certainly is good to be back in the swing of things. Kenji Hikishi walked through the streets of King City. She had noticed the shadows that leapt over the rooftops the night previously. Their eyes had been searching for something, or someone. All that Kenji could hope for was it not to be heroes from Germany. She had just escaped that country. She wasn't eager on moving again, so she had decided to stay low. The villain Magn wasn't alive in King City. The villain Magn didn't need to come forward unless absolutely necessary. Honestly. They can't find me that quickly. Kenji muttered. I'll stay here a bit longer, then I'll move somewhere else. The woman looked around, before ducking into a rundown apartment building. She made her way up the flights of stairs, before coming to a battered door, finally back. Almost too close. They'll be patrolling soon as it's getting late. Walking in, Kenji noticed a few things. 1. There was blood on the now broken window. 2 people were sitting on the couch of her apartment. Both wore hoodies. Kenji outstretched her hand and generated a magnetic field, pulling a knife into her outstretched hand. Who are you, and why are you here? The 2 figures shook a bit, a fit of giggles came from them. Really? You consider us a threat? Toga and Izuka stood up. You're a hard person to find, Kenji Hikishi. How long have you been here? Magn gripped the knife in her hand tightly. I'll ask again, who are you? And why are you here? Izuka sighed. Wind tore through the room as she appeared in front of Kenji. The woman went wide-eyed as Izuka plucked the knife from her hand. Honestly, using a toy like this. Toga walked to Izuka's side and examined the knife. I always had a thing for kitchen knives. But back to the point. The blonde turned her attention to Kenji. Kenji Hikishi? Or do you prefer Magn? Glad that you speak Japanese as a primary language. We're from an association in Japan, and we'd like to recruit you. An association? Like a hero association? More of a villain association. Izuka said, looking at the blade of the knife with glittering eyes. This was the only chance we had to find you, as you tend to move around a lot. Yeah. Okay. But why me? Kenji raised an eyebrow. You have skills we need. You've been discriminated against, and you want to make the world a better place at heart. Never thought I'd hear a villain say that. Magn chuckled. Well, you are correct. I want the world to be more accepting. I've been treated like dirt, falsely accused of murders, although some people. I definitely did murder. Look, will you join us or not? I would, but I've got quite a few people hunting me. I've been here, like I said, about a week. Heroes I've angered normally show up in places I move to. And there are several heroes who I actually know have pursued me. Have you seen them here? Yeah. Actually appeared in the papers here yesterday. The top 2 heroes in Germany flew here to find me. I killed a few of their sidekicks. Izuka smiled. Why am I liking you more and more? I dunno. You like fighting people? I'm a bit addicted to blood. Izuka smiled, turning the knife in her hand over and slashing across her arm. It's just so beautiful. Toga shuddered with delight. Babe. Can I please have a taste? Izuka held her arm out, and Toga latched onto it. Kenji stared at them. Okay. If you could help me take care of them, I'll join you. Izuka's face lit up. Okay. Where can we find them? They patrol at night. That's why I have this apartment. They'll probably be around here tonight. Izuka smiled. You just leave them to me. Babe, do you like the heart of a high-ranking hero? Toga detached from Izuka's arm. You have no idea how much I want the heart of a high-ranking hero. Then you help our new recruit pack up. I'll go take care of them. Izuka flashed a grin and hopped out of the broken window. Magn watched the teenager leap across the street below in a single jump, landing on a rooftop. Well damn. Do you think we should help her? Magn turned to look at Toga, who was busy rooting around the apartment, grabbing clothes and such and stuffing them into cases. She'll be fine. She fought against the full force of us staff and won. That's including All Might, by the way. But that was the USJ attack that was on the news. Does that mean that, yup, you just joined up with me and my girlfriend? Welcome to the League of Villains. Patchwork Bunny is happy to have you. Magn whipped back to the window. Izuka waved, and spread her arms, before taking a free fall off of the rooftop. The girl landed softly on her feet and drew her hood up. Kenji lost sight of her in an instant. It was as if she had never even been there. Come on. Toga grabbed the woman by the wrist and pulled her out the door. The woman was about to shout about the cases, but saw a purple mist dissipate into thin air. The cases were gone. Where? Come on. Izuka sat on the edge of a rooftop. She watched as Toga pulled Kenji down the street and away from the area. 2 shadows appeared along the skyline. They began approaching. It's time to have some fun. The 2 shadows drew closer, to reveal 2 heroes in dark suits. One was male, the other female. They both leapt through the city with haste. Izuka stood up and smiled, before taking off after them. Her leap cracking the stone of the building behind her. Izuka gained speed and drew her sword, leaping into a stab as she closed the long distance between her and the heroes in seconds. The heroes jumped out of the way. Who are you? One asked in German. Izuka smiled and spoke back fluently. I'm the one who will reunite you with your sidekicks, The two heroes leapt upwards as Izuka slashed, dodging the attacks just barely. They were on the defensive. "Oh come on. It's no fun if you don't fight back," Izuka slashed again, before jumping towards the heroes. The first spun and delivered a kick, which Izuka dodged. The second rolled out of the way, before jumping back to punch. Izuka caught their fist. "Huh. Heroes. They always disappoint," Izuka pulled, yanking the hero towards her, before she grabbed the woman's hair. "I know you. Your name is escaping me, but your quirk relies on your hair, right? I wonder what happens if I get away from her." Izuka felt a punch hit her in the side. She flew across the rooftops, before slamming into the wall of a tall building. "I don't know who you are, or if you're working with that bastard Kenji. You cannot defeat us," Izuka chuckled as she pulled herself from the bricks of the wall. She leapt forward at breakneck speed and grabbed both heroes by their collars, before slamming them both into the ground. "How did you? Take a full power punch." Izuka smiled, and drew her face closer to the hero's ear. "Your punches are nothing. Not compared to those of All Might. Even he could not defeat me." The hero shook as he felt the menacing aura from Izuka. His partner flipped over and punched Izuka in the face. Izuka rubbed her jaw. "Huh. I almost felt that." The scarred girl reached out in a flash and grabbed the woman by the throat, before slamming her into the ground. The hero was knocked unconscious. Her partner shouted and ran to her side. "Sarah. No, dear God. No." He began trying to give her CPR. Izuka shook her head. "That won't work. She was knocked out by blunt force trauma. She's breathing fine. She'll die soon either way." The hero grit his teeth. "I can save her. I have to. I can't spend my life without her." He brought his lips to hers to do mouth to mouth. Izuka shook her head. "He doesn't know how to do anything else. Idiot. You want to be with her so badly? Then die with her." Izuka stabbed the man through the back. Her sword went through him and stabbed his partner as well. Both heroes died. Izuka licked the blood from her blade and sheathed it. "Sleep now, and forever." Toga and Kenji stepped through a purple warp gate. They landed in Kurogiri's bar. Izuka sat there, sipping a drink. A small silver box sat next to her. Toga went over and sat down. Kenji did the same. "So how did it go?" Izuka slid the box she had to Toga. Inside were the hearts of both heroes she had killed. "I brought you both." The one insisted on them never being apart. Izuka took another sip of her drink. "Do you like it?" Toga kissed Izuka in response. Kenji shook her head. A misty bartender walked over to them. "Welcome to the League Mag. Would you like a drink?" Kenji nodded. "I'll take whiskey and coke. Thank you." Kurogiri nodded and made the drink. Kenji took a sip. "So you two. Where do we go now?" "You're part of our group. Which means you'll be living with us, and the rest of our teammates." "You have more teammates." The door to the bar opened. Dabi and Twice walked through. The door to Shigaraki's room opened. "You have more teammates." The door to the bar opened. Dabi and Twice walked through. The door to Shigaraki's room opened, and he walked through. Two portals swirled into existence. Hatsune and Tetsuya appeared in the bar. "Everybody, meet our newest member. Kenji Hikishi. Her alias is Mag. Kenji, meet the Vanguard." Magn looked at the faces of the whole group. Most of them gave nods of acknowledgement. Tetsuya gave a grin. Hatsune gave a thumbs up. Dabi, Twice, and Shigaraki were a bit more intimidating. Hey,